Welcome back. In the previous video, we defined our user entity as well as the ID types associated with our users. In this video, we will now define our input sources. To do that, we will go into our inputs YAML file within the model subdirectory. Within this file, you will see two example input definitions already defined. We can use the structure of these two definitions and simply modify the table names as well as the select columns. Input source definitions are very simple. First, you define the name you want to give your input, which can then be referenced in other downstream models. Next, we will define the full database schema and table name of the source table that exists within your warehouse. If it has a timestamp column, you pass that column name in, the occurred at column key here. These timestamp columns can then be used to inform incremental builds. Finally, you will then define what columns within this source table represent identifiers for your entity. Here, you will perform a mapping exercise, where you will define the specific columns to select, what ID type you want to map this column to, and what entity the values within the column are associated with. Let's define a couple inputs here that represent event tables coming from our marketing website. I will define an input called RS Marketing Pages and input our source table, which is Marketing Website Pages. We will select the column called Anonymous ID, map that to our Anonymous ID type, and then connect this to our user entity. I will then define another input called RS Marketing Identifies and provide the warehouse table Marketing Website Identifies, which will contain records for any event where a user identified themselves on the marketing website. We will select the Anonymous ID, the email, and user ID columns, and map those to the corresponding ID types. Note that because this input also has an anonymous ID, we will have the potential to create the link between the two tables. If we did not select the anonymous ID column within this input source as one of our ID columns we wanted from this source table, there would be no direct way to connect the records between these two sources. For the sake of time, I will paste in the rest of the inputs we want to bring in from all the sources from our different systems we are collecting events from. Please note that the warehouse role that Profiles uses to operate will need read access to all of your input source tables. Easy enough. In the next video, we will move on to the Profiles YAML file where we will define our ID Stitcher model next.